Hey there, everybody. This is Jackie Bros.
Folks, people, this is Dunlap, the man. Thanks for listening to the Red State Update podcast. This is our 6-year anniversary.
6 damn years, him.
We've been on here yelling about Trump for what feels like 73 years, so I don't know how it's just 6.
That's just the past 2 years, yeah.
The first 4, we were yelling about Obama.
Yeah. That seemed like I'd give anything to go back to the day where we could just do nothing but cuss Obama. Wouldn't that be nice?
I'd pay you $1 million. I don't even know where I'd come up with it. But if you said, give me $1 million right now so you can scream and call Obama every name in the book, I'd say, yes, I'll take that deal.
Yeah.
Yes, Satan.
Put him back in the White House right now.
Please.
Well,
That yelling was so uncomplicated, and it felt so good, and it was so
simple. Times are simpler.
Simple yelling. Yeah. This is awful yelling. It's the kind of yelling that doesn't make you feel better when you get done yelling. Yeah. You feel worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you feel like you made things worse, and then the person you were yelling at is just sitting back laughing at you.
Yep. And you're gonna do it all over again in probably about 15 minutes.
Hey, look at there. You see him? Well, open your damn eyes in. It's the old-timey country down-home Red State Update podcast and them. Coming to you from a bunker underneath Jackie's Market in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And here they are, both of them.
Hey there, everybody. This is Jackie Bros.
This is Dirtlap, the Dirt Nap, and we are thankful for you, our listeners, here on this 6-year anniversary / Turkey Day Gobble Gobble celebration.
Well, we got a lot of things planned, a big celebration. We ask you some questions.
I forgot my name.
What?
Turkey Dunlap, your Thanksgiving friend.
That's stupid. I said it last time. It didn't
last
make
time,
any sense.
It was. I was still working on it, but I think I perfected it.
No, it sounds as it's the same damn
Turkey
thing.
Dunlap,
it's dumb.
Your Thanksgiving friend.
Yeah. Look, we're looking forward to getting to your questions and all that, but we got to take care of some business, and unfortunately, we got some sad news right off the bat. We lost a great one, great musician, great all-around entertainer in every which way. Rest in peace, Roy Clark. Hee-haw fans I know were sad, and I'm sure am a hee-haw fan, and hate to hear that news.
A lot of people saying online he was not just hee-haw's Roy Clark. He was one of the world's best. He's one of the worst guitar players. One of the world's best guitar players.
Yes, he was.
He was a TV star. But a lot of people, and some people, there's a guy on Twitter, Gabe Bullard, who wrote some stories about country TV, and he said something similar to this. Like, why is it so bad that you were hee-haw? Like on Cocaine Rhinestones podcast, they say, like, Buck Owens kind of blamed hee-haw for ruining his career. Like, he didn't really record that many albums. He didn't get on the radio much. He didn't, I think he still did shows. But, like, hee-haw kind of put the brakes on him being taken seriously. And I saw people say, he wasn't just hee-haw star. He was the, best guitar player in the damn. But, like, what if, like, hee-haw was so popular? That's what the guy on Twitter was saying. Like, hee-haw was so popular. Like, maybe being the world's best guitar player was just leading up to hee-haw.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, I don't remember anybody stopping everything at 6 o'clock on Saturdays to listen to the new Roy Clark record. I mean, Buck Owens is great, but maybe being one of the greatest country music stars ever was just to lead up to getting on hee-haw. I know that's sad. I know a lot. I'm not saying hee-haw is great.
Well, listen, no, it is to some degree, because look, we're agreeing that Buck Owens was a tremendous talent. We're saying Roy Clark was one of the greatest guitar players of all time. If your show can get those two fellas to host it, you're doing all right, silly or not.
It's hard to. Nothing gets less respect than country comedy. So it's hard to say, like, oh, Well, maybe it was like nobody's gonna look. And it's called Hee Haw. Had a cartoon donkey on it. Everybody was in overalls. I mean, nobody's gonna give it any respect right out of the gate. I don't think they tried.
They weren't going for respect. They could care less. That's not what they were shooting
had
for.
3 weeks at Channel 5. They're like, well, let's churn this shit out. But that shit was like huge. It was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so huge. You can't even describe it to somebody who didn't live through it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody watched it.
Yep. Hee Haw.
So, like, if Hee Haw outshined, people are upset that Hee Haw is Roy Clark's legacy, but, like, if Hee Haw is part of your legacy, maybe that's not as bad as everybody's saying it is.
No. There's nothing wrong with that. I think you bring that much joy to people and make them happy, regardless whether critics or people think it's smart or dumb, whatever. No, Hee Haw was as big as anything I ever remember growing up, being around when the TV was on. Hee Haw was on it. That was it. That's all there was to it. Well, we missed you, Roy, and thank goodness we got all those hours of Hee Haw to watch you on there and listen to you play guitar, and we always will. So there'll always be someone somewhere either watch you on Hee Haw or listen to your music.
Uphill All the Way?
Yep.
Movie?
Yep. Oh, yeah, that movie.
Our Hee Haw podcast, when we start that?
That's right. We got a
lot of work to do.
A lot of work
That's
to do.
never going to happen.
Speaking of a lot of work to do, we got a lot of questions of yours that you sent us for our 6th anniversary. We're happy to answer, but something we got to also get out of the way is sponsors right out the gate here. Sorry about the sad news. Now let's get on to business news, and unfortunately, I think some of this is a little...
This is one of those double headers where the news of Murfreesboro is bad. We know that the news of the country is going to be bad, that the president's going to be talking about raking or insulting a Navy SEAL or saying it's okay for Saudi Arabia to kill people or what else? Was there something else?
Want to lock up. He kept trying to get the Department of Justice to arrest
his
Hillary
enemies,
Clinton and Comey, put him
adversaries.
in prison,
But his daughter, what were they going to get arrested for? The same thing his daughter was doing?
Pretty much, yeah. He wanted Hillary to go in for pretty much what Ivanka's been doing since she went in there, so yeah.
So that's our politics section for this episode. Folks.
You know what? Which you have every right to be upset and hurt over, but, we just want to offer you something else to be upset and hurt over, because that'll wear you out being upset and worried about the same thing over and over again.
And with so much turmoil, constant churn in the news, you may not have gotten to hear about some of the local horror and distress that we've lived through.
Well, my sponsor, which I feel awkward saying this now, but I'm already paid up his $25, and I'm going to do about it now, was, it was Z&H Turkey Mustard, which was sponsoring. Now, this is Z&H. This is important. There was a time we were like Z&H. Now I think we got this figured out. Z&H Turkey Mustard, don't break a seal until after the Thanksgiving meal. It's just for turkey after Thanksgiving. That's not before. You don't put turkey on hot, turkey you pull out of the oven on Thanksgiving Day. No, all that cold turkey in there. That's what this was for. And I guess some people still think it is. I don't know what to think about it now, but like I said, they did give us $25. That was a sponsor. Now, as you might remember last week, Z&H Turkey Mustard was sponsoring this big. They were getting into the Guinness Book of World Records.
The Guinness Book of World Records.
For the world's largest grateful pie. Now, this is a recipe.
Grateful pie, that's right.
Made up. They were doing that up at the rock quarry outside. Just yeah.
Grateful pie, that's the recipe. The people who had been missing, the people who broke the seal before the Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah.
Just in case you hadn't listened to the last couple episodes, a few people here in Murfreesboro went missing. I could name them. Jaylene Miller, Toddy Bolson, Scooby-Doo Boys, Rochester Tree Stand, Pearl Bailey.
Yeah.
Some people just went missing because they all had in common they had broken the seal of Z&H Turkey Mustard before the Thanksgiving meal.
People saying that once you open it up, you weren't supposed to open it up. And once you did, send you brain signals. And, of course, they just headed out the door. Didn't nobody know where they were. Turns out they did find out where they went. They just went up to Z&H, an undisclosed location, Z&H headquarters.
Possibly in Ohio.
That's what I heard, but I don't know. I can't confirm that or deny it or whatever. But what they did is went up there. They got a free a recipe of this grateful pie, and they were taught by celebrity chefs. A lot of us around here know him on Channel 4, Chef Carmack's Struffalo.
Oh, he really is a local celebrity.
He is here. He's quite something, and he gave all these people a personal cooking class free of charge, and they learned this recipe.
How much would that class cost normally?
Oh, that'd be at least $600.
$600. Wow.
At least.
I was thinking like $50, $75.
No, $600. I mean, some people pay up to $1,000 to have an hour with him. That may be private one-on-one, $1,000 an hour. I don't know if you want to do that.
There is something about that accent that really makes you learn. I think so, yeah. I've never heard an accent that makes you learn so much. But when he's cooking on Channel 4.
Or one that makes you that hungry. That accent, I know what he was cooking, but that accent also makes me a little extra hungry than other chefs I see, how they talk.
I mean, I've talked back to the screen where he's like, I wish you could take a bite.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I could too, chef.
I'm always going, well, shut up now. I'm getting hungry. You get me hungry and hungry by the minute. I know he can't hear me, but it just, you say things out loud sometimes.
Well, and he started making them candy corn hand pies when he was working with ZH Candy Corn.
This is ZH Candy Corn. This is not Z&H Turkey Mustard.
We thought maybe they were the same, because there was this whole thing with ZH. If you haven't been listening to the last few episodes, this whole thing with ZH Candy Corn where it made these old people in an old folks' home super strong, where they were able to drive themselves to Trump rallies, and they were pushing people down who weren't wearing MAGA hats. And then a couple of them had a baby, but we'll get into that.
But the baby, that's a big important part of this. That's a real important
little
part.
Piedmont, cute, adorable Piedmont.
Plural now, not cute and adorable either. Monster baby, bless his heart, not no fault of his own.
There were a bunch of Piedmonts. They were born to Charlotte Pipe and Baker Taylor, who were elderly residents who got hooked on that corn. We got them off of it. They got the antidote. They are no longer on that corn. They are back to just being regular old people.
Sitting in a wheelchair watching TV.
Fox News. Yeah. But Piedmont, the baby, was left behind during the rescue operation, and it was given to Letty and Ramara, who raised it over the course of a week or two. As it grew into a strong,
kindness of the heart,
muscular monster man. It was scary. It looked a little bit like Nosferatu, vampire, scary Dracula.
It looks scarier than scary Dracula to me. I ain't never been a Dracula scare me, but this Piedmont,
and it grew up.
Good.
It looks like some of those things in the new Alien movies, but with pointy ears.
Hey, just wear me out. Think about it.
Scary, large, can run fast and leap.
I saw enough of it this weekend. And if you came down there, I'm sorry. Well, it depends on who's listening to this. Maybe I don't got nothing to apologize for as far as you're concerned. If you were there, a lot of people come down to see this. It's a big deal to have Guinness World Record book there.
Guinness World Records.
Huh?
And that's incredible.
Oh, yeah, the new That's Incredible, which I didn't know they would do.
I didn't know.
They're going to be a new one. I'll watch it, but I don't know after this. I don't know if it's going to be the first episode or whatever. But everything was looking good. You had the biggest grateful pie anybody had ever seen. It smelled
the funny
delicious.
Thing about grateful pie is the ingredients, which is just sort of the crossover with the Piedmont story, because tell us what's in the grateful pie.
Well,
Jack, if you can remember.
It's got, regular pie things, cream, eggs, definitely got eggs in it.
A lot of eggs, provided by
crust.
Cheap Eggs, our friend Scunny at Cheap Eggs.
And rats and mice.
Now, why? The funny thing is how on board you were last week with the rats and mice. Well, I just wonder, because you were on that corn, and you got some of that in you. I just wonder if maybe you got a little of that mustard.
I thought Chef Carmack Struffalo every now and then would do a recipe that had mice and rats in it, just for people on a tight budget. Some people can't afford to get filet mignon or whatever they want to cook.
That's true.
That's what I thought, but
it turns out that's Piedmont, the Piedmonts, and Piedmont, original Piedmont.
Yeah.
and all the Piedmonts that fell off of the extra faces of his body and grew into large, giant Piedmonts of their own.
Bunch of them, yeah.
And that were eating Letty Ramara out of House and Home and Eggs and keeping Cheap Eggs, Scunny, down at Cheap Eggs made much money, they put in a pool.
They put in a pool. But, he also did, everybody had people contribute. Would you like to put an extra, would you like to buy an extra egg today to help feed Piedmont? And a lot of people did. That
the
was
town
nice
came together.
Yeah,
They did form those.
It ain't Scunny's fault that eggs become so, valuable all of a sudden, and he had the cheapest ones. I mean, that's just good business. So I don't hold nothing against him. Some people said, he's making a killing off of this sick monster baby or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, no, he always sold cheap eggs. He's still selling cheap eggs, and, would just come into fashion since these monsters love him.
That's the thing about Murfreesboro is everybody has kindness in their heart.
They do.
They'll try to make some money, but they got kindness in their heart.
You gotta make some money.
Even the people that started the Piedmont patrols, they said they were doing it to look after the Piedmonts, even though they had guns and bats.
Well, you'd have to have something.
But as far as we know, up until recently, the Piedmonts were peaceful, and the most trouble they ever got into, other than scaring people and possibly eating some livestock, was that they would take some of the baby Piedmonts that had freshly fallen off the extra faces and go down to the interstate and throw them at the windshield of cars.
That's what they did to a few, which it don't hurt that baby at all. It'll break your windshield out. It'll make you wreck. It could have killed somebody.
Scare the fuck out of you when you see that baby, that Nosferatu face baby.
But baby just roll right off and go back up and
laughing,
do it again. Yeah,
but it doesn't laughing where you can hear it. It's inside your head and your teeth. You feel the vibrations. You don't hear it. They talk at you a lot now. They're very talkative at this point, but
they never not out loud. It's all in. It's like you got a real bad headache with words.
And what they're saying really are just your doubts and fears. So it's not a pleasant conversation.
No, but sometimes you learn a little bit about yourself.
Oh, that's true.
Which I don't need that, to be honest with you. I don't need to look at them, first off, because it's just...
Well, that's not nice
Well, it's not their fault either. I don't mean to say that, but they're scary as hell, and that's true.
That is true.
It is horrifying. It is a thing
but
of
it's
nightmare.
Thanksgiving.
You see them once, you're going to see them again in your dreams over and over and over again for the rest of your life. There's nothing you can do about that.
But we're proud of them here in Murfreesboro.
Oh, bless your hearts. Bless your pitiful hearts. It ain't their fault. They didn't do it.
Murfreesboro natives, the Piedmonts. Original Piedmont and the Piedmonts. There are hundreds of them at this point.
Well, it turns out that's all what Z and H were up to, and I should have seen it, and I didn't. And
I should have seen it. I said that's what the Piedmonts like to eat.
It was all this. It was a giant.
I blame you and myself, but you. I blame you a lot. Well, you just said you should have seen it.
Well, I should have. I
said I should have seen it, but I was trying to make you feel better.
I was upset to hear that Chef Carmack Struffalo was part of this and had anything to do with it. But bless his heart, he had a change of heart in the midst of all this, as any decent human being would, I think.
Well, it was okay. Let's set the scene. Everybody comes down. The whole town of Murfreesboro's out there. Oh, it's like down the square, city fair at the square, or any of the other things where we've assembled the entire town of Murfreesboro before a slaughter.
It's about like that, except it's with a giant pie.
Oh, and that pie. Let me tell you, if you've never smelled a rat and mouse and egg pie, it smells great.
However he cooks it, he could make anything taste good, Chef Carmack Struffalo. He really could.
I hope when all this is said and done, he gets another show. And he's alive.
I'm saying, yeah, me too. I hope that things turn out.
So this giant pie, Murfreesboro, everybody come down. Everybody's got their little jar of turkey mustard, just waiting for
the midnight, stroke of midnight.
So they
crack
can
that
open
They want to open that mustard. Yeah, they don't. I'm supposed to break seal. They didn't
till after the Thanksgiving meal.
And because everybody wanted to get a piece of this pie and everything, and people were aware that if you'd open it too soon, you'd run out of town. Didn't nobody open it till
that taught people a lesson. I will say
it did. But also at the same time, the lesson it taught them is like if it sent them out of town, they come back and made a big pie. So they get something out of it either way.
So who learned that lesson?
There's a lot of lessons to be learned here. We're gonna sort through them all when we get done here. Cause
you've got a giant pie that smells delicious, full of rats and mice and eggs, and you have got the town of Murfreesboro, Scunny and Scunny's wife, who works at Fast Adoptions, which is right next door to Murfreesboro Fast Quick and I can't remember exactly, but it's right next to Cheap Eggs if you go down.
Over there by Cheap Eggs.
They get to work right next door to each other. They were there. All the disappeared Murfreesborians, the Jaylene Miller, Toddy Bolson, Scooby-Doo
they're
boys.
the ones that made the pie. They were all there.
They
of
were
course.
there
They were the ones
with
that
the
make it,
chef Carmax Truffalo, and boy, howdy. The Guinness Book of World Records people were measuring the crust.
Oh, they were out there.
That's incredible. Was filming it.
Yeah, it was a big day, proud day to be in Murfreesboro. I thought at the time.
And then we heard a rustle in the trees, and we heard a scratching from the ground. Did you know that Murfreesboro? This was back in the 70s. When Guinness Book of World Records was a big thing before, and that's incredible, was a big thing before. Did you know that Murfreesboro is also known as the underground tunnel capital of the world?
I didn't know that.
Yep. And they all just full of underground tunnels. And they all lead to the woods.
Well, that's
or
old.
Gravel pits.
This is true. Now, this
or
I know.
Mortuaries.
Al Capone. This was one of his stops on the way to Chicago, and he had a place up in Johnson City that he stayed. But Murfreesboro, he had a bunch of caves out there, underground tunnels, where you'd put all that, all that stolen booze that he had and all that stuff to get it back to Chicago wherever he was taking it. Yeah,
and see that makes sense. And I guess in the 60s and 70s to capitalize on this infamy, Murfreesboro just built thousands of other underground tunnels.
New ones, yeah.
And the Piedmonts discovered those tunnels.
They've been living down there. We didn't know, couldn't find them. But, the Piedmont Patrol was looking everywhere, looking in trees, looking at park garage, anywhere they could look. Couldn't find nothing. We thought maybe they'd moved on, had left, but that's not the case.
Because their house was full. Letty Ramar's house was always full, but we knew that there had to be 70, 80 more.
Oh, it wasn't in the, they get to a certain, they stay there until they eat so many eggs in this time they have to go out and explore things on their own, They all wind up leaving, but it takes them a while, yeah.
They look a little bit like George Kennedy in Paul Newman movie where he eats them eggs.
They look scary than that. Look worse than that.
And some of them, they don't all look exactly the same.
No,
some of them
all,
a little pudgier.
They all look like something wrong with them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a scary George Kennedy.
Monster George Kennedy.
Monster.
Not just George Kennedy. I mean, he's a big fella. I mean, he's intimidating, I guess. But George Kennedy with claws and the devil eye, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and his thoughts coming into your teeth.
Yeah, that's the main thing, yeah.
You don't want that.
Headache. Woo.
So, here come the Piedmonts up out of the ground, just thirsty for that pie.
They got into that pie. I never seen so many monsters eat a giant pie in my life.
Now, they were not coming for the people of Murfreesboro.
Nope.
But they were startling. If you want a thirsty, hungry Piedmont coming up out of the ground next to you, gasping and foaming at the mouth, his tongues are waggling trying to get at that pie from several faces. And then just moving fast, as fast as I can see, and then diving into a pie and getting hit in the face with cream and egg and my mouse.
What?
Can you even imagine? That's scary shit. No wonder the Piedmont Patrol got a few shots off.
But they were scared, but I tell you who wasn't scared. As soon as these Piedmonts started popping up, jumping in his pie, eating it all over the place, Jaylene Miller, Toddy Bolson, Scooby the boys, Rochester Tree Stand, Pearl Bailey. Now, these were the people that made this pie. Out of nowhere, suddenly all of them, they got these cattle prods on them. Suddenly they got these nets, they got these fancy contraptions or whatever. And they go to work. It's like they were secret underground or something, and they knew what they were doing. So I think they got taught a lot more than a recipe when they went missing up to Z&H headquarters. I think they went through some sort of commando program or whatever you do, some kind of basic training, more than basic, because they doing things I never seen them do in their lives. Not that I know all of them, but I ain't ever seen them do this.
They were commando.
They caught a few. They did. I mean, nobody else would get close to one that want to touch it.
They were wrestling them to the ground. They were shooting them with tranquilizer darts.
Yeah, and they rounded up a bunch. They loaded up. I mean, it was fast. It was just, it all happened so quick, just monsters.
Have you ever had a Piedmont scream in your brain?
Oh, good Lord. Good Lord Almighty. That's the thing. I don't know how they could fight that. They must have trained them somehow. That's what those things... They were all wearing those weird little caps, those weird little helmet things. That's what it was. Those had to keep the thoughts out of the head. There ain't no other excuse. Because if you come out of Piedmont and you was trying to catch it and it starts to thinking on you and you get a headache, start hearing them, you don't want to hear what words it's going to tell you. I tell you that right now. But that's what it had to be. These little helmet hats, whatever it was, had to be blocking the Piedmont,
It was
headache work.
It was a hairnet, a bicycle helmet, and the bicycle helmet was covered in tinfoil.
Yep.
It was probably something more elaborate than that, but just to to an outsider like me, it just looked like something cobbled
that's
together.
what I said when I first saw him. What's he doing with that in tinfoil? That's what I thought. And next thing you know, hell, he catching all these damn Piedmonts.
They caught, I'd say most of them. I mean, they caught.
The majority of them, yeah.
Some escaped to the tunnels and some escaped to the trees. They had them up in these nets. Then all of a sudden, all these helicopters come swooping out of the sky and blazing with the letters Z and H. And just as they're about to start loading them on these helicopters, the Guinness Book of World Records people threw off their tweed overcoats and their Sherlock Holmes hats. They were all dressed like that. I don't know why.
I don't know.
I thought
you write a book. I don't know.
Maybe they were Scottish, and that's how Scottish people do.
And I thought, I was getting excited, even though all this terror going on. I said, well, there's going to be a lot in the Guinness Book of World Records. We're breaking a lot of records today, like most monsters in a pie, whatever. You go on and on. How many monsters caught, giant pie.
How many headaches?
I thought, yeah. I was sitting there thinking, well, Murfreesboro going to take up, 2 or 3 chapters. It's
going to be a good episode of That's Incredible.
Yeah. I was looking forward to that. But turns out they weren't the damn Guinness Book of World Records. That wasn't who they were. That was a ruse, as I say.
They were ZH candy corn.
ZH, not Z and H. Turkey mustard. ZH candy corn.
Commandos. They were commandos, and they started. They had huge guns.
They weren't doing no cattle prod or trying to catch nothing. They were doing nothing but trying to put down Piedmonts, and they sadly did a few. Well, not sadly, no offense. Even if it's deer, you got to clear out a herd.
Well, these are not.
They're not deer. I know that, but I'm just saying it's still terrible. But ZH candy corn. They were there to kill these Piedmonts and nothing else. That's all they wanted to do, and they went through a lot of trouble to do it, acting like a Guinness Book of World Records people. And it was just a horrible thing to see. I will say that. However you do deal with, population control or anything like that, still, this ain't the way to do it.
Chef Carmack Struffalo, I'd seen him getting more upset with the Z&H people saying, you promised you wouldn't have hurt them.
He'd been a little too rough and netting them up, caging them up. And he said, that's, you ain't got to go that far. He's heard him say that a few times. I can't do the accent like you.
That one guy, who was it, Jaylene or Toddy, said, get out of here, Cookie, or you'll get the prod.
Yeah. And around that time, that's when you saw his change of heart, like a Grinch's heart gets big or whatever. You saw Chef Carmack Struffalo make contact. Now, I'm pretty sure, I'm 95% sure that the Piedmont he was with was the original Piedmont. Not one of the many spawns of the Piedmont, whatever you want to call it, but the original Piedmont. And he was sheltering this Piedmont. He was trying to help him. Now, I don't know if original Piedmont used his brain power to make Chef Carmack Struffalo to help him the way he did, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think he honestly had a change of heart.
Well, that's when we pulled him into the pie. That helicopter exploded, and
we hid in there. Yeah,
and that's when Chef Carmack's told us. I guess if you're going to believe anybody, I'm going to believe a television chef.
Sure, he got no reason to lie.
And everybody else from the town was just clutching their turkey mustard, shaking it. Their heads had been screamed inside of. Some of them had been shot.
Yeah.
There were explosions. There were helicopters. You ever been under a helicopter in real life? That stirs some shit up. It gets in your eyes.
It's rough. Now, we had the shelter of the pie crust a little bit, but still loud and everything. We stayed hidden in there till after midnight. From what we see, we were stuck down there. They were moving people out doing this, and what I overheard from these ZH people, this ZH and this Z and H. Remember, they used to always kind of catch us up a little bit. Is it ZH or Z and H? Remember we all that?
Well, it turns out, that's some Game of Thrones shit. According to Chef Carmack Struffalo,
he was explaining this to us when we were down there, and plus we overheard a few things of people doing their business. People loading stuff up, bringing equipment out, all these military folks. Yeah,
Chef Carmack's told us that originally the ZH Candy Corn Company came up with this formula that would help old people run and laugh and be strong and have sex.
De-age them. Well, they don't need to. That's where all the trouble started.
Cocoon them.
Well, cocooning, they weren't all having. The sex part is where things started to go downhill with all this.
Nobody expected to create a patented race of super soldiers.
Wasn't the plan, according to some. According to some, it wasn't the plan. According to others, they saw an opportunity.
So Z and H broke off. Say, hey, they're leaving money on the table by not selling these super soldiers.
How do we deal with this? And some people ain't no way to deal with nothing but how do I make a damn dollar? And that's what, sure enough, what Z&H was thinking.
But ZH Candy Corn said, no, this is our problem. We are the good guys here. It's time for us to fix our mess up. We have to murder every one of these Piedmonts.
Well, that's the reason I don't think they're good guys so much. But
well, they say they're the
good
guys.
Intentions were good, but still, you murder a bunch of people.
They just wanted to help the old people.
They're trying to, cover up a mess is what it was.
They were a little worried when the old people went to the Trump stuff, but, they're like, well,
they can live with that. Yeah.
This won't last forever. But with the damn monster babies, they were like, shit, let's put a stopper in this.
With Z&H, this was their big elaborate plan to make this, to lure all Piedmonts there, to take these things, to study them. They were trying to get, because we overheard that, and that's the reason Chef Carmack Struffalo, he told us that the original one, they had the pure blood or whatever it was, they wanted to get.
That's racist.
That's what he said about, that's what they were saying about this Piedmont, is all I'm saying.
I fell asleep.
He was the first one of it all. What do you mean you fell? Well, it was warming that pie.
It was warming that pie, and do you know how comfortable a Piedmont's lap is? I just put my little head on it.
When you can't see it, they're fine. As long as you got your eyes closed, they're warm, and a little hairy here and there.
That's what women say about me.
Well.
So, at some point when I woke up, Chef Carmack Struffalo and Original Piedmont had gone. There was just a hole in the pie where they had sat.
They made it out to the woods or something like that. And around that time, we was about to come out. And like I said, this around midnight, we about to get out of pie. And then sure enough, we heard them soldiers, the MPs or whatever it was, all these, I guess, what do you call it, the people that just, with the guns and all that. I don't know.
Black-suited extras? I
guess so, whatever they are. They said, all right, it's midnight, open the mustard. And sure enough, I thought, well, I guess, I don't know if the turkeys had time to get cold yet, but I understand they've been working all day, probably want a turkey sandwich. And they got out that turkey mustard, they opened up every one of those seals, and sure enough, they just put it up underneath the Murfreesboro population that made it there. They wouldn't let them go home, they held them all there. They put this turkey mustard, it was as soon as midnight, they were counting it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open the mustard. And as far as I can tell, every single person, not a soul remembers any of this. If you listen to this and you were there, trust me, you went through this. You don't know it. It completely wiped their memories. Nobody remembers nothing.
It's no point, Jackie. You sound like a crazy person.
What?
Sounds like you're trying to convince somebody not to like Trump. They're just not going to believe you.
No, I saw with my own eyes. I saw what happened. They wiped the town's memory of all this incident, which, quite honestly, is probably for the better. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't really see a problem with it.
Well,
I mean, that way they forget that the damn Piedmonts existed.
yeah.
Except we did find one little baby in the tunnels, and we dressed it to look like a normal baby.
Yeah, get
a
it out of there.
non-monster baby.
Yeah.
And we give it to Letty and Ramara.
Because they at least need one, yeah.
And they burn off the extra face, so I think they're going to keep it down
Well,
to just
good.
one.
I hope so. Hope it works out.
I mean, it should be like a 9-foot monster person in a couple of weeks.
It won't take long, yeah.
But it was nice. It's nice for them.
And I tell you what, my feelings are hurt about all this because there was nothing I was looking forward to more than opening up my jar of turkey mustard now that Thanksgiving's over. I couldn't wait to open that up and have me some delicious cold turkey sandwich. I was looking forward to it, and I guess I can't do it now.
Hell, Jackie, we were lucky to make it out of that pie before they set the damn gravel pit on fire.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we're lucky.
You can't, but you have a jar of turkey mustard.
I know I got it, but if I open it, it's gonna. Well, hell. Just because it wiped your memory don't mean it ain't gonna taste good.
I mean, honestly, what is there to remember?
Hell, can it wipe out the past 2 damn years? I'll eat 4 or 5 damn turkey sandwiches. Hell, let's get this wrapped.
We should sell this to the general population. It's like CBD oil, only better.
Z&H are in the wrong business. They need to figure this out. Whatever it is they're up to, we don't know. Hopefully we'll find out someday. But, yeah, let's hurry up and answer all these questions. I want to get home and eat me some delicious cold turkey sandwich, leftover day-old turkey sandwich with some delicious Z&H turkey mustard.
I think you mean some delicious Z&H forget Trump mustard.
Oh. Happy anniversary, Dunlap.
Huh?
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you, too. How long you been married now?
No, not married this thing. It's the Parker's anniversary.
I meant to me.
What?
I meant to me. What, about 15, 16 years now?
Too damn, yeah.
And his podcast, 6 years of it.
There's 6 before, yeah. And before that used to be somewhere else on the computer, yeah.
Get on the computer in another place starting in 2005.
Used to be, now tell me if I'm right, because I don't know computers real well, but this, from what I understand a little bit, used to be there wasn't but 2 or 3 places you could be on the computer, right?
That's true.
And we were pretty much on those, right?
It was, here's what, when you used to get on the computer, you went to your email.
Yeah.
You went to porn.
No,
You went to Red State Update.
Yes.
Or you went to, there was a site that entered you into a bunch of sweepstakes.
Ah.
There was a coupon site, a sweepstakes site.
Now that makes me want to look at a computer. They had coupons, almost worth it.
You
but not
spend the
now.
whole day just filling out forms so that you'd enter into sweepstakes and you could make a living that way.
Well, hey.
Or you could become a YouTube partner.
Well, that's one place, YouTube's, I remember. But back then, there was only 2 or 3 places, and you could pretty much find me, besides the dirty stuff, find me and you on one of those places. Now, we're on probably twice as many places, but back then, we were only on 3 or 4 people looked at us. Now we're on about 3 times as many places, and nobody looks at it.
What are the places you're talking about?
Oh, Chachi's. Mm-hmm. I don't know them all. There's a bunch of them, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Chachi's is pretty big.
Well, yeah.
And we
That's
ain't
the one
figured out how
if
to monetize that
it's
yet.
got to be big if I know it, because otherwise I wouldn't know what the hell it was.
So 6 years of doing this podcast all over the internet, as Jackie says, And now we're here to give you some of that time, to yield the floor to you, our faithful listeners, who have given us questions across several platforms, including our Patreon page, our Facebook page, our Twitter page. Chachi's probably, and Instagram. I thought, well, should we go with the platform that will implode and or be outlawed first, which would be Facebook? But instead, why don't we go over to the Patreon page where people give us money in order to be our fans?
Oh, well, they probably have their questions answered first. That's for that reason, I think.
So we're going to start over. And if you haven't heard us plug anything yet, if you go over to our Patreon page, you give us $5 or more a month, you get a new bonus podcast called 20 Extra Minutes with Jackie and Dunlap.
We'll be doing that directly after this, talking about secret, private 6-year stories. Or probably Quincy, one of the two.
This is like when you do somebody does a big anniversary show, or maybe somebody retires at work, or it's or Barbara's 10-year anniversary down at the plant, and everybody, the floor manager comes on there and says, yeah, Barbara's been doing a great job for us here. You remember that one time that she come in, she had a flat tire, she still made it? That's Barbara for you. Let's all raise a glass of this punch to Barbara. And everybody says, but then after
Barbara,
down at the bar, people start telling stories about Barbara. And then remember Barbara and Rick, they used to cuss each other. And then remember after the Christmas party, we walked in on them and they was turned sideways all up on each other. And that's when you hear the good stories. So this is Barbara's official 10-year anniversary at the plant. But over on 20 Extra Minutes with Jackie and Dunlap, that's when we're at the bar across the street getting drunk, talking about Barbara screwing Rick.
First off, I don't know if we talking about the same Barbara.
So let's go to the Patreon now. Oh, and other podcasts is a damn Redneck Matinee, which is coming.
There's more of those coming.
Got a little more research to do.
Eventually, yeah.
We already told you we're going to do Convoy. We're going to do Breaker Breaker. We've got Smokey and the Bandit 2.
That's what happens.
In production.
That's the one that kind of threw us for a loop. That one, that story's never ended, and hopefully we're going to find a conclusion to it and talk about it and get it out there, yeah.
Let me just say, after 6 years of doing a podcast about current events, which requires no research at all.
No, hell no.
Just us overhearing some things on the radio on the drive over here and then getting out and being mad about it. What'd they say? I don't know. You still mad? Yep, let's go.
Yeah.
Then to actually have the chance to do some research, it starts to you get a little carried away.
It's time consuming, yeah.
How many books on Sam Peckinpah do I need? How many books on Ernest Borgnine do I need? That book on Ernest Borgnine got to be better than them 6 on Sam Peckinpah.
Yeah, at least one good book on Ernest Borgnine, and hopefully they're the top book, the best one. That's what's the go-to book.
I think there's just one.
Oh, okay then. Well, there you go.
Who would you rather hang out with, Sam Peckinpah or Ernest Borgnine?
I don't want to hang out with Peckinpah's. He did drugs and everything else. He made some good westerns. Early one, Ride the High Country. I like that one. And that's the one I did, Ballad of the Cable Hole. But Wild Bunch, all that's a little too much for me.
Let me tell you something. Ernest Borgnine was friends with George Goober Lindsay.
Well, there you go. There's nothing. I like him. He's always good in pretty much everything he does. But you know.
So that's another podcast we got.
He didn't do drugs like Peckinpah did, as far as I know. I don't think he did drugs.
Well, we're going to find out when we get through that book.
Well, I hope it ain't bad news.
And if you're listening to Redneck Matinee, we'll let you know all about it.
Yep.
There's also a podcast called 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
Yeah.
So, Patreon, August Hahn says, 3 questions, gentlemen, and thank you for asking. Are we giving people 3 questions?
I thought it just one, but if he's paying this money, give him, hell, I guess they get 3.
Question 1, has anything else Satan-y been happening to Dunlap since Halloween?
Oh, hell, that's every day with him.
Well, I'm not overbearing or disgusting.
But you just being you, now there's that, you know.
Longtime fans will remember that technically I'm the spawn of Satan now. Also, look, can we go back and just if you listen to some of our previous You Ask 'Ems over the years when we first started doing these, it's been a while since we did one. They were all about politics.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "What do you think about Obama doing this?"
Yeah. I didn't like it.
And we'd be like, I got to figure out how to make this. Like, what do you think about gays? We'd be like, we like gays. What? Why are you asking it that way for?
Yeah.
What? We're not sure how we feel about you now.
He asked something that way, yeah.
So those questions be like, well, we got to give them an entertaining answer, but really we want to say, gays are good. What's your problem? But now all our questions are like memory puzzles.
Which I don't know which one's more difficult to deal with. Probably the one that has to do with bigotry, but still, this is pretty tough too. We gotta think back and remember some of this stuff because we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot over these 6 years.
So I would say, like, the most. It's hard to describe. Have you ever just wanted to sacrifice something or someone, but not known who, or just sort of a vague, just like a vague yearning to commit a sacrifice?
What? What?
Just like want to sacrifice something?
No.
Or somebody you never feel
No,
like that?
no.
Not like you really want to do it, but just like, I could really go for some sort of satanic sacrifice
All right,
today.
I don't wanna
Hey,
hear
let
it.
me tell you something
This
else.
stuff ain't funny to joke around with. You watch what you're saying with your mouth over there, because none of that ain't funny if that's what you're trying to be.
I don't
want
want to do a lot of derailing of these questions because we have about 400 of them. But I do want to say, if you watch that Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix, Jackie, did you hear those words I just said? Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix?
I don't watch it, though. But what?
They do a lot of like, praise Satan and the Dark Lord. And I was like, how would this would not have played at Sunday school if I went in and said, I watched Sabrina last night and they were saying, Hail Satan, Hail Satan.
Well, no, they tell you what. You quit watching that.
Mr. DeWeese would have swatted my bottom.
Well, Mr. A, he preached against comic books, everything else back in when they didn't really say, devil stuff in it. They just assumed that
when
that's
witches
what it was.
weren't really witches. There was no Satanism in old school witches.
No,
like Sabrina,
Wizard of Oz,
or Wizard of Oz, or Bewitched.
She's still mean though, but it wasn't overtly, She wasn't lighting candles and stuff. What
Killing
did they do?
people.
Goats and things. Yeah, sacrifice. Yeah, said nothing cute about that at all.
But basically, just a yearning for
What?
a sacrifice. Question 2. What would happen, do you think, if I mix some Z&H turkey mustard with some horse gravy?
Oh, I don't know. Well, first off, I bet it'd be delicious because the horse gravy tastes good, but we really can't answer that officially until after Thanksgiving, which will be after tomorrow. I guess you'd be listening to it today on Thanksgiving or the day after, one of the two.
Nobody's going to listen to this on Thanksgiving.
You don't know about that. If people going to be arguing, they got something about Thanksgiving. They keep pushing the hour back later and later. It used to be you'd get families get together around, I'll be over at 10 o'clock. I see you at noon, 11, 1, 1 at the latest. Now it's like 4 or 5 o'clock. That's that. How many hours less you guys spend with Trump supporter this or, liberal that, snowflake, whatever. No. You sit at the table and argue, you won't, sit in the corner and listen to this. Not that this is much better than that.
Well, you're in trouble if you say, hey, Granny, we're pushing back to 4. And Granny writes back, I'll be over after Hannity.
Yeah.
Question 3. Are there actually any lines left for President Shit? Pardon my language.
Well, excuse mine. I didn't mean to start something, but I can't think of a better name for him. But President Shit. Excuse me.
To cross. Are there any lines left for the President of the United States, who is Donald Trump?
If there are, he gonna find them. I'm not a scholar. I don't, I'm sure that if there's any way to demean the Constitution and our laws and what this country is founded upon, before it's all said and done with, there won't be. I would have thought I thought he crossed at least enough of them where they wouldn't, somebody might have said you shouldn't do that, or held him accountable for his action, Republican, Democrat, there, party before, country before party, whatever you want to call it.
I guess he said at the beginning that he could shoot somebody in the middle of New York City and his people wouldn't leave him. And then I guess he just said the same. He said he put that into action with Saudi Arabia.
Very much, yeah.
Saying, well, we get a lot of money from these people. That gas is cheap. So I guess if he did kill somebody and then say, hey, they had $10,000 in their wallet, and people would be like, yeah, well,
same thing, yeah.
I guess. I get it. I need $10,000.
Don't encourage him, because if he think, if he gets a mind to it, who knows? He'll walk in the middle of Times Square, wherever it is he needs to go to shoot somebody.
They had $10,000 in their wallet. I give $200 to a veteran. I think it was a veteran. I don't know. Perlmutter runs up Marvel Comics. Is he a vet? I give him a couple bucks.
Huh.
John Holiday says, I want you fellas to know y'all have been like mentors to me. Y'all taught me way more than any of those professors in college did.
Wow.
I'd put my earbuds in during class and get a real education from y'all, and I even graduated. So I wonder, who were y'all's mentors? Thank you kindly, and I look forward to the next 6 years, assuming everyone's hearts don't give out.
We can hang in there, hopefully.
Who was your mentor, Jackie?
My mentor? Well, let me try to think of his name. He was a teacher of goat class when I was younger. But that's what I learned most.
Oh, yeah, goat class.
Goat class. We learned how to keep him, goats dry in the weather, whatever it was.
What was his name?
It's been years. I can't remember. And
Mr. Nunley?
I think it's Mr. Nunley. Goat class. Yeah, that's it, Mr. Nunley. Now, he was probably put more, because, you think, okay, this class is just going to be about goats, and it is, but that class was also about life. And Mr. Nunley, left me a lot to chew on, and some of it I didn't understand then, and then I grew up, got to be older, and I said, well, he was right all along, Mr. Nunley, yeah. And if you won't call him mentor or whatever it is, I guess that's what it'd be, yeah.
Our good friend Al Moore writes in to say, if Hillary had been elected, would you boys have really ended the Parkist?
That was, honestly, that was the plan. Yeah, that was it. We figured we'd been doing this too damn long, and I'm sure some of you agree with us.
Yeah, no fooling, Al. We had the whole exit plan. We were going to...
We had a whole big... It was going to be like a big special. And then she's going to win, and then we had this joke, and that sort of thing was going to be...
We're going to play the song by Seth Timbs. How's it go? Never too late to give up on your dreams.
Yep, that's right. Good song.
Give
Good
up
song.
on your dreams, I think is the name of the song.
Good Nashville musician.
Go download Seth Timbs, Give Up on Your Dreams. One of my favorite Seth Timbs songs.
It was good, appropriate at the time. Yeah. But it was all over with. We'd cussed Hillary Clinton for how many years? We'd cussed, President, shit, at the time wasn't president. We'd cussed him a lot, for it was like, this is enough cussing. She's in there, let it go. Just, I had enough of it.
This is after you endorsed her.
Well, I had to. I had no choice.
So, yeah, I don't know what would have happened if maybe we'd all be better off. Well, I mean, we would be.
Well, yeah, in some regards, yeah.
But if we'd quit doing the show, I don't know what would have.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell else would do. Felt we needed to keep hollering about, what we're dealing with, so that's why we're on here. Plus y'all giving us some money, too. We appreciate that. That helps. Give you,
Elizabeth McClellan says, what's the Church of Holiness God Hurtbird Frog Church think of the Piedmonts?
There's a lot to unravel in that.
I don't know that they have come across each other yet. I haven't heard their official church. I don't know what the church platform is on Piedmonts. I don't know if it's in there. What do you call it? What's a church got? That thing?
They made that thing.
It's a word. It's like a platform or there's a word for it. A church word.
Church rolls?
Yeah.
Church rolls.
I'll never think of it. I think this is some more of that Satan stuff because I can't. It's hard for me to think of church words.
You didn't know any church words hardly at all, besides the few that your daddy beat into you.
Ask me some church words. Just do a real fast.
How
pyramid.
can I ask you the church words?
Just ask me. Give me a church quiz.
All right,
real
when
fast.
you go into church, what do you sit on?
A stool.
Pew.
Damn it.
When you get up to sing, you pick up and sing with the what?
Microphone.
Hymnal.
If your holiness,
What?
you use a microphone.
I don't want to give church tests anymore. People ain't listen to this. I don't want to listen. I don't want to do
Hey,
it.
church test would be a good podcast when we quit this one.
Well, I tell you what, I'd bone up on my church and I would get me some churching up before we jumped into doing that. I wouldn't mind at all if you want to discuss church things. That'd be the name of it. Wouldn't it?
You and two preachers in a contest.
Contest. Oh, I see what you like. Jeopardy.
Yeah, Jeopardy for preachers.
Church Jeopardy.
Church Jeopardy. They do that somewhere.
I'm sure.
Like Bible school.
Oh, yeah. Did
What?
I answer the question, whatever it was? I don't even remember
Well,
now.
she's got more. She also wonders, is TT still trying to find a way out of McMinnville? TT Slot, if she was not our first sponsor, was one of our very first sponsors.
Well, I won't say right now. Let me say a few words about Miss T.T. Slot. I did not agree with her lifestyle. I did not agree with how she chose to live. Not my place to tell her what to do one way or the other. But it was something I didn't sit, and she has bettered herself. She's made herself, it's really something out of herself. She was made, to come from where she come from and pull off what she did, and all power to her. Let me say it right now. So, wherever she is, I hope she gets this message.
Can we expect a Broyles Slot mayoral run soon?
I ain't gonna run for no. I ain't doing that. I ain't good at that.
She was mayor for compared to you, she was.
Well, the only one I guess is out did her. Been mayor longer is Mayor Ghostbird.
Was she wasn't officially the mayor.
I don't think there was debate on that. I believe between the different water people.
And also, some people would say that being a sex worker is a fine occupation, and
That's fine.
certainly
That's just not
better than politics.
Well, yeah, I get nowadays. Yeah.
And also, Lisbeth, Ms. McClellan says, has anyone checked on the numpos lately with all the stray animals going missing? I forgot that there are a lot. There's numpos, there's Piedmonts, there's
Dunlaps.
churches, there's Dunlaps. Wasn't there a league of magical children at some point? There's a lot. You don't know. And this may sound, if you're not from Murfreesboro, it may sound like, well, how can you forget all these things? You walk down the street in a small town, like 1,000, 2,000 people, and you go, oh, yeah, there goes Barbara. I hadn't thought about her since her 10-year anniversary down at the plant.
Barbara?
You can't keep up with everybody. If you live in one of those towns in Florida, like one of those abandoned subdivisions where they house child molesters,
Right.
and everybody you see is a child molester, eventually you go like, oh, right, he was a child. Like, yeah, he's a child molester too.
What are you doing living there then?
What? I read an article,
Huh?
and I sold some pills to a few of them.
All right.
I'll take their money, but I won't be nice to them. Al Moore says, what if you took some of that Halloween candy corn and had pill sauce make a potion that you could give to Mrs. Broyles? That might snap her out of her coma. Well, she's not in a coma, Al. She just had a stroke.
She had a stroke. She's still, she can talk a little bit. It's like baby talk, but she ain't in a coma.
She's not
yet,
in a
anyway.
coma.
No,
We didn't put her in a coma, did we?
I didn't put her in a coma. What do you mean? You didn't? Did we put her in a coma? I don't remember it. If we did.
I do like, there are a lot of callbacks that we miss doing this show, talk about our friends and neighbors here in Murfreesboro, and pill sauce and TT and Numpos. These are all, you guys are great. I wish we had money to pay y'all to come out here and just be on staff. But as it is, it's just me and Jackie talking in this microphone.
It's coming back to us. 6 years, flooding back to us in your words. We appreciate it, yeah.
Eric Wood says, this may be well-known lore. Jackie, you're going to like this one. It's romantic.
All right.
This may be well-known lore, but I'd like to know about the meeting and courtship of Jackie and Mrs. Broyles.
Oh, this years ago. I'd be happy to tell you, we was high school.
He had some specifics if you want to.
Specifics?
If you want me to roll.
What do you mean specifics?
What kind of wedding did they have? How was the reception? Who was Jackie's best man? How many dogs were present? That's a good question. Was there live music?
Dogs.
Is there any notable toasts? Was there an open bar, and how many fights?
Well, it wasn't. We got married in a church. There wasn't no open bar in the church. Got married in Baptist church. What was the name of it? Gliddledale's Baptist Church, Gliddledale's.
The one that burned.
The one that burned down ain't there no more. Just been years and years.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because sometimes devil worshippers will come down there.
No, even. Why are you saying all that?
A burnt church, the side of a burnt church is extremely important.
Yeah. My best man was a fella named Teddy's Belters. Teddy's Belters. Mm-hmm. He dead now. He been dead. He was my buddy back in high school. We was high school sweethearts. We'd waited till we was, in 21, 22 years old.
Teddy Belters?
No, he was my friend in high school, and he was my best man at the time. But he dead.
I don't care. I'm just like, that's an interesting fact we're finding out on the 15th episode's anniversary.
He died a few years after I got married, so that's been a long time. In hindsight, I would have probably picked somebody else. But yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, you think back, married is the most important time in life. He was my friend at the time, but he got drunk and a tractor rolled over him.
At the wedding?
No, not at the wedding. Soon after.
Why did he have a tractor at the wedding?
He didn't. It didn't happen at the damn wedding. It happened at his daddy's house, a week later or something like that.
Oh, and then later he died. So he embarrassed you, and now you don't just want to erase him.
No, it's not embarrassed him. I don't want to erase him. No, I didn't say that. It would be nice if I'd pick somebody still living, And I remember.
No, he died and embarrassed you.
No, he didn't embarrass me. He embarrassed himself.
Were there any fights?
Fights? No, there wasn't no fights. Not in the church or nothing like that. No.
Did you have them little buttermints at them pastel buttermints at the reception?
Maybe something from that.
They're pretty good.
They're good. Yeah, there's a wedding cake and things like that. Nothing fancy. It wasn't a whole lot of people. Some of her people, some of my people. Teddy's, you saw what happened to him, but anyway, it was fine. Fine memories besides, that one, just one little thing.
I don't even really remember exactly what he's talking about here. This must be from your sordid past. Are there any issues with the Jackie Broyles Survival Revival Gazette? Every word written by Jackie Broyles, signed Jackie Broyles, still being written by Racist Tom, Paranoid Lewis, Jew Hater Pickens, and company.
That goes way back to when we did jokes we probably wouldn't do nowadays, I think.
Well, because at the time you think, we can make fun of this handful of racist, anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists.
Just a few, yeah.
They're on the outskirts of society, and we're shedding ourselves of them. We're shaking them off our feet like the dust of a biblical town, and yet here they are running the show.
Yep.
But are they still making that?
It might be. I don't know.
You should look into that.
I am going to look into it if I still got my name on it. You're damn right. They better not. They better take it off of there.
Because now it's probably online. It's probably a website. You got your face right on it.
Get it off a computer now, whatever it is.
I think that comes up in search on Google. That particular video we're talking about, which was when Ron Paul had the racist newsletters.
Oh, yeah.
I think the name of the video is Jackie Brole's Racist Newsletter.
That's what it is. But, he didn't have nothing to do with his newsletters, and I didn't have anything to do with this for sure, because I didn't even know it was out there.
Just lovable, confused old men. You got a lot of questions here. I got a couple. When was the last time Apple issued you a check for your iTunes sales? I stand by everything we said at the beginning. How's Lisa Ann doing these days? Any behind-the-scenes tales from the music video sets?
Oh, Lisa Ann, that's a woman that made the pornos movies.
Very nice. Probably your favorite porno actor.
I don't know her. She was a nice could be. She was a nice lady. Are we allowed to say this about when she came and
I think so. It's a good story.
It's a good story. She come out, we wanted her because she was in the news making the Sarah Palin thing, and we thought, well, we'd see if she want to. And
I pushed for it.
Sure, well, you did, yeah, and I did, anything Sarah Palin, you can't be that bad, I thought, so sure, go ahead. And she, gave us the conditions for somebody, she is a working, actress, and here's the amount of money it's going to cost to get me to come there and do this, and I'm happy to be there. And we made a deal. Yes, ma'am. Now we can cover that. We can afford that. Thank you for being there. And then she came out, and we had a big time. She helped us out. And when she was leaving, we need to settle up. How much here? Oh, you're right. You ain't got to pay me nothing.
Did it for free, folks. Don't ask Lisa Ann to show up to your piddly ass bullshit and expect she's going to do it for free, because she ain't.
No.
She's very nice to us.
But she was very kind to us, and also, I just let people get ideas about somebody who works in this job and makes you think this about them or that. You don't know nothing about nobody till you meet them. Nice lady.
She also changed clothes in front of us. So.
Well, that was a little awkward for me. I tried to look the other way. But
just business.
Well, to answer your question, no, we ain't talked to her in a long time. No. I don't think she's doing. She went into another business or something like that. I think she's doing real well with whatever.
I think she's got her hands in a few businesses.
She's doing all right as far as we know, but we hadn't talked to her in a while.
I think she may have retweeted something.
She does that around Christmas time. She likes that video. She'll say, "Oh, this was a lot of fun" or something like that. She'll do something like that.
She's great. Eric goes on to say, just quickly, Jackie, you're the only podcast I keep up with 100% caught up on, and the only podcast that's almost killed me. Driving home one August evening to listen to one of the episodes sponsored by Rib Rubbers and Rum Rimmers. I remember those.
Those were recent enough. We can recall that.
And Ribbed Rubber Rug Rackers.
Yeah.
I began laughing so much while driving in the wee hours on a 2-lane road at 60 miles per hour. I drifted all the way across and didn't realize to correct till my driver's side wheels hit the gravel. I had to correct, but luckily butt puckered, and suddenly, without mirth, I managed to return to my lane of travel without meeting any oncoming traffic. I quietly and safely traveled the rest of the way home in silence.
Well, that makes me feel terrible. If people are laughing to go to kill themselves on the road, that ain't good.
I mean, it ain't bad.
No, I appreciate the compliment, thinking it's funny and all that, but I don't want nobody to get hurt.
I don't want nobody to get hurt.
First off, I'm glad you're fine. Thank you much for the compliment. Be more careful. Maybe don't listen to us in the car. Maybe listen to us, somewhere else. I don't know.
Hey, some of them sleep podcasts where people talk to make you sleepy that say, or some meditation podcasts where you're supposed to relax, and they say, don't listen to this driving. Maybe we need to put a warning on ours.
And if that's what it takes, have you do computer warnings, figure it out, and hit the button.
So, where are y'all recording the podcast these days? This question is from our good friend and dramaturge, Guy Lancaster.
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember 3 sticks of candy ever sold? Do you remember 3 sticks of candy ever sold ZH or ZNH brand candy corn? And if so, how many pieces could you buy? I asked because according to one website, the traditional 6-year anniversary gift is candy. Is that a coincidence? I'd get confused on what the different gifts are for different years. What'd you get Miss Brose when you was married 6 years?
That's that. I can't answer. That confused me there. What I get her?
Uh-huh.
What did I get her for 6-year anniversary?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good Lord. I don't know.
What'd you get her this year?
Something she picked down a catalog. I don't even know what it is. I'll write the numbers down. Send off for it.
How do you send off for it?
Whatever, she'll pick something in the catalog. You said, how you order things. Don't you remember how to order things? Remember catalogs?
I just have a picture of you filling out a slip and writing a check and putting it in an envelope.
That's pretty much what it is, yeah. What
That's
you just
not
said.
how you do things
Why?
anymore. That's not how you do things
Well,
anymore.
the only way I know how to do it is use a catalog for that.
How do you even find all that equipment?
What I mean equipment? Envelope?
Yep.
Piece of paper?
Yeah.
Pen?
Checkbook?
Pencil? Well,
Yep.
checkbook, yeah.
So, Guy, thanks for your question. We're not sure about if candy is the gift for 6 years. Do you remember if 3 sticks of candy ever sold?
They had candy corn. I remember that. They had all kinds of candy, but I don't know if it was if they was in production at that time or not.
I don't remember if.
They had enough troubles already. I don't know if you need to throw that into the mix.
I'll be honest, I don't remember ZH or ZNH showing up till this year. But obviously my memory's full of holes. Al Moore's back to ask, haven't heard the sirens in a while. How are things down at Longhorns? Let me just, I don't want to take you guys behind the curtain too much, but just a little technical insight here for the production of the Red State Update podcast. We discovered that you can just hit a button and pause it.
Oh, yeah, let the car go on by.
Yeah,
Just
you can
pick
just-
up. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
It took us 5.5 years to figure that out.
It's a
I'd
little
say.
progress we made in 6 years' time, I think. A little, a little slower than some, but we're getting
Longhorn's
there.
about the same. It's about the same.
I'd say about saying you never did answer Guy Lancaster to asking where we're, recording these
Oh,
at.
right. That was the first part of the question. What's the answer?
All right, next we go on then.
They got a lot to figure out. I don't know. I'm feeling very DC Comics in 1983, 84. People throwing their hands up going, this don't make any sense anymore. How many of these dogs talk? I can't keep this straight. We got to start the fuck over.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Who won the Raymond Bruckner says who won the who won the Biscuit District Babe? I'm already slap happy, and we've barely made it through the Patreon questions. Who won the Biscuit District Baby contest this year, or did Ghost Hurtbird put the kibosh on things? That famous beer can opening.
District baby that was Dakota Barge.
Oh, how do you remember? You can't remember. You remember a baby's name?
Dakota Barge. I just saw it in the paper not too long.
Baby Dakota Barge won the Biscuit District
Official,
Baby
yeah.
contest this
Yep.
year. I'm sorry we didn't update you folks on that. We should have been keeping you more abreast of the situation as things change on the ground. But thanks to Raymond Bruckner for asking about the Biscuit District Baby contest. As we move over to Facebook. Vince Warren says, what was your favorite flavor of slot juice? A lot of slot fans in the questions. I'm going to assume these fans go way back when I would say the word prostitute and it would make Jackie hotter than a hornet.
Well, I just didn't think you was. Don't need to devote that much time on that profession on here. I didn't want to be affiliated with it. Is all. That's right. Now, like I said, I come around on TT slot. C&I had a differences years ago, but I'm proud of her for changing the ways and making something of herself. And not that what she was bad. It's just something I think what she is now is better. That's all I'm saying. And at the time, I did not, that slot juice was not something I was going to, have a drink of. Now, having said that, there was a time somebody poured some, and it was pretty good. I tasted it, and if I remember correctly, that flavor was clear.
We're going to go with clear. Shane Copen underneath that says more of a hose water man myself, but I can respect that. And Jenny Benevento says, and what is TT up to these days? Well, we wish the best for her. We're not sure exactly what she's doing, but I would not be surprised if she popped up any minute now. Or if we completely forget about this when we're done here. Keep those cards and letters coming. Asking about TT Slot. Greg Trimner says, questions, who has been the best topic of conversation? What was your favorite sponsors? What was your best location? When will we get back to the good old days? That's a good question. Why won't Dunlap heed Jackie's wishes and watch The Language? Thanks for all the good times, guys. I love what you do and look forward to many more years. Rhythm. Who has been the best topic of conversation, Jackie? Who would you say?
Best topic of conversation. Good Lord. We talked about a lot of things on here. People are going to take this the wrong way, and they're going to think I'm saying this trying to get, $5 out of them, and that's just not the case. But I tell you what, I enjoy talking about Quincy about as much as anything else.
We have enjoyed Quincy. We have enjoyed Skip Stevenson.
Stevenson, yeah. Now this is stuff on the Patreon. Yeah.
This seriously is not a commercial.
Nope.
I can't give the Patreon episodes to all of you for free because people are paying us money for those. But if you want to give us $5 and go back and check some of those, most of them are around 20 minutes, and
some of them longer.
We're pretty tired by then, so it's a little more lax. A lot of looking things up on Wikipedia. If you like these episodes when we talk to our phone and ask them to search for Skip Stevenson songs or damn old a lot of Charlie Daniels Twitter, then you're going to really enjoy, or reading transcripts of Jack Klugman Palimony trials, you will really enjoy the $5 level Patreon prize 20 extra minutes with Jackie and Dunlap.
Well, they've recently been talking about Quincy a lot, and I just, it got me thinking I'm trying to find out where I can watch them. We looked on there, you can order them on DVDs or whatever. But I'd like to see all those old Quincy shows.
Any truth? Oh, I forgot his other questions. Let's just power through. We got to power through.
All right.
What was your favorite sponsors?
Oh, hell, what's your favorite sponsor? There's been a lot of those, isn't it?
I like the bug spray.
Bug spray? That one didn't make any sense. Well, why bug spray? It was just bug spray, wasn't it?
Was Frida's Fried Potatoes ever a sponsor? I think she was just side character, but man, those potatoes.
They was good. Yeah, I wish if she wasn't a sponsor, I wish it was. I liked. And it's probably just because of my personal involvement in it. Horse gravy had meant a lot to me, and I wish things didn't turn out the way they did, but so be it. But I sure was enjoying doing those horse gravy ads and saying it like a commercial. That made me happy. I guess horse gravy would be mine.
When we get, where was your best location? I got to say, just down in the bunker at Jackie's store. Good old school Red State update.
Where it all started. Wish we'd go back around and start there again, but now we're in this place that we can't really say.
Mama, tell me about the good old days. Why won't Dunlap heed Jackie's wishes and watch The Language? I guess, what were you going to say, Jackie?
I just going to ask you the same thing. I said, please, thank you for asking, and I want to know, too.
That's funny. I've never heard you.
What?
Ask me before.
Yeah, I ask you. I do it all the time. What is wrong with you? Watch your mouth. I did that all the time.
Why won't Dunlap heed Jackie's wishes and watch The Language? I don't know, man. I guess because fuck Jackie.
All right. Watch your mouth. Now, I'll be honest with President in the White House. Excuse my language. I've been cussing more than I ever cussed in my entire life. And I feel terrible about it, but I don't know what else to do. But I don't say stuff like that, what you just said. That's something I ain't ever going to say.
Any truth to the rumors from August Hahn? Moved over from Patreon over to the Facebook. August Hahn. I'm going to go with. Any truth to the rumors that Jackie Jr. Also, a lot of these people, almost everybody we've read a question from now, longtime fans whose names we recognize. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Any truth to the rumors that Jackie Jr. is moving back into Murfreesboro? And then Jenny Benevento. I like that Jenny's just coming in and heightening. Jenny says, will he be home for the holidays?
Well, that's personal family business I don't want to discuss. but I'll give a little bit of information, and that's it, because it's private. I like to keep things private. I think he is going to be coming back, Murfreesboro. His sentence is up. They are letting him loose. And if there's anything we can do to make his life if he can stay on the right track, he won't have a better friend than,
Dunlap.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure we can make a lot of money.
Well, I don't know, and that's the reason I'm keeping it private, because I don't know how things are going to turn out, and I don't want to have to be talking about it when it turns out awful, more than likely.
I'm hearing from a lot of people I meet at the bars and in the alleys, being released from Murfreesboro prisons, saying, "Hey, have you heard anything about Jackie Jr.? We can make a lot of money as soon as he gets back." And I'm like, I'll keep you posted.
Well, I don't want to hear about any of that. We'll see how it does.
Should we just turn this podcast over to TT Slott and Jackie Jr.? Somebody always asks a question about Jackie Jr. We did one cliffhanger 12 years ago, and it really stuck. I'd listened to a true crime podcast about the unsolved case of Jackie the Jackie Strangler, hint, says Daniel Maynard.
I listened to what?
A true crime podcast about the unsolved case of Jackie the Jackie Strangler, hashtag hint.
I don't like being personally involved in that, and I don't like all the insinuations of people when they were saying that, but when it's a true crime podcast, that's like unsolved mysteries, right?
Yep. Maybe we should do one of those.
I need to do it on TV like I used to.
Matt Ellis says, why can't we go back to the simple days with Snowbird, Ralph Emery show chalk-off competitions, Dan Miller reporting the news, and there was only one Walmart in the borough?
Well, Dan Miller did. That's one of the reasons I guess you can't,
August Hahn replies, only one Walmart? What are you, a barbarian? It is hard to say. I will say, it is hard to make do with just one Walmart. It's like having one bathroom.
Well, people always too many Walmarts. It probably is. Mom and pop store or whatever hurt them, put them out of business, which it did. But now all you got is Walmart. And if I ain't got to drive but a few feet to get to one, so be it. I'm okay with that, regardless where I'm at in town.
We're coming to the point where Walmart is going to just own everything, and we're just going to wake up in a Walmart bed like home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
Although, how are they doing against Amazon? We may be wrong. It may be Amazon. We wake up in an Amazon bed, driving a little drone around.
Well, Walmart took all their money back from that woman in Mississippi. I know that. Walmart don't deserve a pat on the back that often, but in that case, they do. Well, she was a woman likes public hangings or whatever.
The lynching joking Confederate hat wearing woman.
Yep.
In Mississippi?
Walmart took they'd given some money to her campaign and took it all back. Yeah, that one.
In Mississippi, she's the head of the Democratic Party.
Huh?
I don't know if that joke landed.
Yeah.
Daniel Maynard says, any truth to the rumor that Shimmy Sham, the liberal dummy, was Phil Bredesen's campaign manager? They look alike.
They are similar looking, that's for sure. But that's related. I don't know if that has,
Greg Royalty says, if Jackie ever gets another store, will he sell some new hats? I would buy at least one of them, maybe more if it come with barbecue or bologna. I don't know if anybody's ever packaged a hat with food in it, like to ship in the mail. Like just put some shrink wrap bologna, some good Tennessee bologna inside a hat, stick that in a box, send it over to Greg Royalty.
That'd be nice. The holidays coming up, Christmas. That'd be something I think people would like, yeah.
What beer cracks open the best? I think the taller the beer, the better the pop. Curious your thoughts as a beer cracking professional. Oh, well, thanks, Greg. I'm thinking about starting a podcast about this. I'd say I like a good, cheap, a Miller Lite, a Bud Light, a damn old PBR.
Yeah.
Something cheap and watery, because you want to practice. You want to pop a lot. You want to get a lot of pops off. If you're doing an audio broadcast and you're not popping that beer off 20-30% of the time, I think you're wasting a lot of ear space. So what I would say is stock up on not the cheapest beer, but not the kind of beer where somebody say, I never even heard of that, but the kind of beer that you say, oh, that's not good. Those are the kind of beers you want. Something that maybe a kid in a mustache would think was ironic. Get a bunch of them, lay them up, and just practice popping and drinking. I don't think it's so much. I think what you're feeling when you pop open one of them big cans is the novelty of holding a bigger than usual can, and your fingers are not used to holding that width and girth are more sensitive, and so you feel, and your ears are more sensitive, and you're feeling, and you fooling yourself into thinking you're feeling and hearing a bigger pop, and what you're just sensing is just the novelty of an oversized can. I say stick with the regular sized cans, and you control that pop. You make that pop as big as you want it to be, or as small as you want it to be. Don't be at the can's mercy. Tame that fucking can.
Watch your mouth and save this for your own park. Because I don't,
It was a teaser.
That makes any sense to me.
For Beer Pop Talk, Greg, I'll be talking to you. Maybe I can get you on as a guest. Justin Lonsberry says, and this is a good question. How old is Jackie?
Oh, yeah.
Does he remember World War I or the Great Depression?
Well, ain't that.
What did you ever do with that old... Oh, then it moves on from there. But your memories, Jackie, I am still confused as to exactly... I don't think you know exactly what year you were born in. You say you lost your birth certificate.
Well,
your mother was like 114 years old.
Yeah, she's up in age, yeah. When she passed him.
So it seems odd that you would not be approaching, I don't know, 95 yourself.
I'm up in age. I don't want to leave it at that. That's another personal thing. I don't know, because, as soon as if you get on here and announce it to the world, I'm such and such age, I just say getting up there and oh, he's none of this, none of that. Get his address. We'll go where he's easy to take, which that ain't the truth. Let me tell you right now, you don't want to come across me in the middle of the night in my house. That's for sure. Damn sure. Don't you do it. But that's right. You put that at there. What's that called? It's called ageism, or that it is. And people get an idea about you, and they can't shake it loose. And next thing you know, they won't rob you blind. So I'm up there in age, but I'm still young enough to, tumble if I got to.
I'd say somewhere between the ages of, I don't know, Rob Reiner and Abraham Lincoln. Also, more questions. What did you ever do with that old bologna food cart? It's just sitting in the back there, rusting away.
They put it to use, yeah.
Is it for sale? It's ain't in good condition, but, I'll let you take a look at it. What beers Dunlap always opening at the beginning of the podcast? We covered that. A variety of cheap yet still delicious domestic beers. How much wood would a woodchuck... Oh, then he gets crazy. What was invented first, ketchup or mustard, and which one does Dunlap use as a deodorant? Well, I'll tell you this. I like ketchup and I like mustard. I don't use either one as a deodorant, but if I had to choose one, Jackie, would you choose ketchup or mustard?
Mustard.
Over ketchup?
Yeah. As a deodorant,
oh,
not it's what I'd eat. I like both the same, I guess, as far as eating, but if you said something about using it as a, deodorant?
Yeah.
I'll put that mustard on me. That's a better smell.
This is a good thread. Shane Copen says, how do you guys know Travis and Jonathan from the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast?
Just Murfreesboro. Small town, you get to know.
I just want to skip ahead down here. Tim Harrison says, Shane Copen, I was on the Travis and Jonathan show episode 2. Met them at Jackie Goff's Market, which was real and legit here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Shane replies, I probably watched you on Channel 10 back in the day.
Right.
Or again, when I ran across an old VHS tape where somebody recorded all the Travis and Jonathan episodes. What segment were you in? Name your favorite bird. Always my favorite. Love the interviews they used to do around town. And Tim Harrison says, I'm Dr. Nightmare.
Oh. I get shivers just.
That's the end of that thread. Or Shane liked it. That's a good. I'm glad nothing else happened.
That's exactly
Cap it there.
That's where it needs to end. Don't let that go on any further. Yeah, everybody be safe.
What's your favorite item to get on a buffet?
Yeah.
What buffet? Shoney's Breakfast Bar buffet?
Ryan's
Steakhouse buffet?
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral buffet? Chinese buffet?
Everybody got the specialties. Yeah, all those are, everything got the. It depends on usually chicken, depending on how you cook it.
Usually chicken?
Depending on how it is,
Wait.
Yeah.
What kind of chicken? Tenders?
I said usually if it's on a buffet, sometimes I got some fried chicken out there on it. You got the heat lamp on. Sometimes I got the baked chicken out there on it. Sometimes it got, you go to Chinese buffet, orange chicken or this kind of chicken. I mean, there's so many different ways you cook chicken. Most of it's pretty good.
So you heard it here first, Shane. Usually chicken?
It depending on how it's cooked.
Usually chicken, depending on how it's cooked.
My favorite thing to get off of all those buffets we just mentioned, yeah.
Shane also wants to know, have you guys heard anything from TT Slot? People love TT Slot.
We're going to have to look into the TT Slot. But Menville's the last we heard of her. We hope she's doing well. Maybe we can reach out to her and see what she has to say.
Other than John Wayne, who's the best cowboy?
Oh, good Lord. Who is it? Who is? There's a bunch of good ones.
Number 2
cowboy right after John Wayne. Clint Eastwood, I guess. I know there's some other good old ones, but Clint Eastwood made a bunch that I like.
He kind of carries a cowboy thing with him, even when he's just
not now.
being in the mule. Well, old cowboy.
He just look the mule. He just look old as hell. I mean, he look like he's sweating, and somebody look like he needs to lay down.
He'd kick your ass for saying that.
He might. I'm just saying. I'm glad, but I'm just saying. But he's acting. I'm not saying he really is that way. He's acting as an old man, even though he is probably pretty easy for him to, performance for him because he is old as hell.
How much older or younger than Clint Eastwood would you say you are?
Yeah.
We also have one last question from Shane. How hard is it to produce an hour plus worth of material each week? Well, as you can hear from this episode, Shane, it ain't easy. Thomas Burns says, where does Dunlap get those patriotic shirts? Does he have just one? Does he have hundreds? Has he cornered the market on those shirts? Does he wash them himself or have them dry cleaned so they last longer? Same questions about Jackie's beard. So, Thomas, what happened was, you ever walk into a Goodwill or a Salvation Army or a church store selling on one of them church stores they got in the back where everybody just brings their junk and they sell it, help a poor with it or whatever, buy bologna, make sandwiches for Christmas. I walked into one of them stores and somehow somebody had, I guess maybe they'd ordered a bunch for like a choir or maybe there was a field trip, but I found about 100 of those sweatshirts and they were all big. So everybody who had it was big. And then there was about 4 for children. So I'm not sure if this was some kind of cult. But I got like 100 of these shirts. I said, well, if I get these and I cut the sleeves off all of them, which was a lot of work, I Steve Jobs this shit. I ain't got to think about what I'm going to wear.
Wow.
So I got all these shirts. And they were only about, 25, 50 cents. They had whatever color they had on them was 75% off that day. So I lucked out there too. So I took all them shirts. I went home. I cut all the sleeves off of them. That was a long time. Do you remember when I was cutting all the sleeves off them shirts?
You ask somebody to call you, see what she's doing. What's she doing? I'd say he's at home cutting the damn sleeves off all those shirts.
It was like 2 weeks. I didn't. And then I got so mad because I'm not good at cutting, and it was jaggedy. I don't know if you ever
Well,
noticed.
you had bad scissors. You got to have good scissors. You start with bad scissors. They're going to get worse as you go on.
I'd get so frustrated. I'd get drunk. I'd drink all that cheap beer.
Old rusty scissors.
And
Yeah.
I'd just sleeping on a pile of shirts. And then what happened was I'd wake up with the night sweats, and I was sweating through those shirts, and I was sick. I had a couple of accidents because I'd pass out drunk on them. And by the time I was done cutting all the sleeves off those shirts, there was only one that was still wearable. So I took them all out in the backyard and tried to light them on fire. Remember that? And they wouldn't burn.
No.
They wouldn't burn.
Whatever made them out of or whatever you did to them, yeah.
Eventually, over the years, they've just sort of melded into like, if you look at it from afar, you think it's sort of like some sort of sculpture or maybe a pond for birds in my granny's backyard. But it's actually just a bunch of trash and garbage with stuff that came out of my body all over them. But not wearable. Not wearable. Maybe some of them sleeves, but I'd done unattached them from the shirts.
Yeah.
So you can see them. When I do the Red State Update tour through Murfreesboro, I always stop in Granny's backyard and show them the shirt mass.
Why does anybody want to look at that? That don't make no sense.
I don't. Nobody.
Just take them to the dump. Man.
It's
Ain't
mostly
no damn
just
difference.
practice now.
Yeah.
I take him to the dump when I want to show him where Dunlap lost his virginity.
All right, enough. I want to hear it.
Who was asking this question? So, how's your beard?
I mean, how's my beard? How's it look? Well,
Dan Kunkel says, you guys want some chicken? That's funny. Jackie was just talking about chicken
well,
at
it
the
depends
buffet.
on how it's cooked. I always like a little chicken, but if it got to be cooked, it depends on how you prepare it. It ain't, it casseroles, you do all sorts of things, chicken, whatever you want with it.
August Hansback says, happy pod birthday from sunny-ish Mermelada Pequeña, where I am on what some would call a beach, sipping a Mai Tai through the vents in the mask of my hazmat suit.
Wow.
He raises a good point. If y'all like this podcast, you might like the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast. Al Moore says, is Ghostbird still the mayor? No. I know that much. Did the popcorn machine at the Murfreesboro Museum ever get fixed?
If it had got, we would have never stopped eating it or talking about it, so no.
Is Jicky still making the best damn barbecue in the state of Tennessee?
Hey, who said that?
How's little Miss Sissy's health these days?
Well, she living.
Fair to middling, I guess. Is Green Bean still ministering to the frogs? What did happen with that?
He went up to oil, remember? He went up to
Yeah, but then he come back.
oil. Did he come back from there? Mm-hmm. He was fighting and fussing. Yeah.
We cut all these together. There's a whole episode we could listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Should we stop this one and go listen to that?
That's going to take longer than it has taken to answer these.
Did Mr. Drib get me too'd? Mr. Drib. Oh,
Yes,
Mr.
Ghostbird,
Drib.
yeah.
He met an untimely end, an unfortunate end. Is the acting attorney general really Bird Lady's henchman Jimmy? You know what we're going to have to do? We threaten to do this all the time, but we really should just cut all the sponsors together and just put up a whole sponsor podcast. We asked people if they'd want that in this feed or in a separate feed. I think the response was another feed, but I think it'd have to be in this feed if we did it. Because who'd ever go to the other feed?
Nobody.
But then we run off everybody from this feed.
There's no way out on this. There ain't no right, you messed up either whatever what you do on that.
Podcast, man. Patrick Fitzgerald says, only the real ones remember when Jackie doused the studio with gasoline and tried to burn it down after Fred Thompson dropped out. You're right, Patrick.
Yep. Sad memory. Bad time. Can you imagine if he had stayed in the race? Can you imagine where we'd be at now as a country had he stayed in the race, become president?
We'd all be driving red trucks around.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
I remember when you guys, says Sean Cope, looked like you just changed a tire on a hot sunny day. Now you just look like somebody you'd bump into in a Walmart buying a NASCAR hat. Not that that is a bad thing, just different. I miss W.
I miss W too.
Somebody on Twitter was just saying that W was much worse than Donald Trump.
Who said that?
Hollywood director of Anchorman,
I ain't gonna know who the hell that is.
Step Brothers,
I don't have,
Adam McKay. He just made that movie about Dick Cheney coming out.
well, he's full of it.
It is really just kind of a progression from. Jenny Benevento says, "What's going on down in the square this time of year?"
Well, Christmas time coming up, so
People getting ready.
people getting ready for Christmas will be on the window displays. You see all sorts of things. Yeah, it's going to be something as it always is around here.
Somebody, and
Some
I
Christmas
forget,
time.
I forget who asked us this. I'll forget. It's probably somebody who asked us a comment, but said we should go to the square and talk about everything that's in everybody's window display for
Well,
Christmas
sure,
this
yeah,
year. That's a
I'll do
good
that.
idea.
Yeah, I
Also,
think
that's
we might
another
do
good
that.
podcast. We could put it in this feed also.
Christmas winter display.
Tom Hendricks has. Should I just read this? The paradigm is shifting from conservative versus liberal to, this shows up a lot, to corporations versus people. Day after day, it's becoming more and more clear. Both are fighting for control of the government. Corporations usually win. Look at this list of problems. Yeah.
If that interests you, it's on there. I mean, you can look at it. He puts that up, ever so often.
I will say he is committed.
He is committed that, I'm to each his own. I don't know, if that sounds like something you want to read, you sure can find it.
It may all be true.
Yeah, it could be.
I
don't
stopped
know, yeah.
about halfway through.
It's too much. I can't,
It's a lot of
Things are bad enough. I got other stuff that's terrible going on.
other than net neutrality. That seems like a good thing.
Yeah.
Jenny Benevento, though. We can't read that because we got two questions from Jenny Benevento here, and we need to answer those. Oddly, Skip Stevenson did come up a few weeks ago on My Favorite Murder.
What?
Apparently, Skip Stevenson came up a few weeks ago on My Favorite Murder. It's a true crime podcast. I mentioned true crime podcast in the comment attached to the picture where I was asking people. Jenny, I hope
Unsolved mystery.
I hope he's okay, and they weren't implying that his untimely end was somehow suspicious.
Or that he killed somebody, for that matter.
Ooh.
That'd be bad, too.
No, we've spent a lot of time on 20 Extra Minutes asking for help finding the Skip Stevenson country album. We've been talking to a very nice lady who worked with Skip Stevenson back in the day and who has some copies of this. She thinks in a storage unit that she hasn't managed to locate yet, but we're just sort of waiting.
I got nothing but time. It's been 6 years. I'll wait another damn 6 years till we hear Skip Stevenson's record. I'm just sorry y'all have to keep giving us money till then.
While we're talking about it, if anybody on this podcast has a copy of Skip Stevenson's country album, please contact us and
Let us know, yeah.
And then Jenny comes back. If you could ask President Dumbass a debate question a la the YouTube debates, we were on that.
That's a long time ago.
It sounded weird then. It sounds dumber now.
Yep. And now it's Twitter debate. Twitter Twitter's debates.
But
right?
we're thankful that we were on them.
Oh, yeah.
What would you ask him? Keep in mind, Anderson Cooper will not allow bad language. Things I feel like have changed, and he might allow a little.
I think, yeah, if you try to do that now, if the president says it, I think, you shouldn't say. First off, if the president says it, you shouldn't say it. But you can't blame anybody who does.
Let me pretend to be Donald Trump, Jackie. And you ask me,
I ain't got nothing to ask him. There ain't nothing that man could tell me that I'd have any interest in. There's nothing of him opening his mouth other than I resign, I won't hear. That's it.
because it'd be a lie.
Well, that's what wasting your time asking him anything. That's why I don't understand everybody get worked up about the press and all. Jim Bob Costas, Jim Bob Costas. He, throw it. Why do you want to be in there and get lied to all the time? You can get mad as hell as you want. It don't make a damn bit of difference. They're going to lie right to your face, or she's going to lie to you. Whoever's standing up there going to lie to your face.
It wouldn't even make sense as a lie. If he says it, it would be a nonsense lie.
Yeah.
You could tell it's a lie, but it also wouldn't make sense.
Yep.
And it would be inflammatory. He'd just be doing it to get a response. At the same time, he's doing all those other things.
And that's all her job is to try to make sense of whatever he says and prove it is true. Because she's just full of it, too. She just says it in a different way.
It's like one of them classes in college where you take rock lyrics and pretend they're deep and meaningful and then write a paper on them.
All right.
And now we're moving to Twitter.
Whew. We got to do chachas after this. I'm about half wore out. Now, we do thank each and every one of you for taking the time to, ask a question, be involved in any way, participate in any which way at all. We sure do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, I hope you get the answers that you want.
These should be faster because they're shorter.
All right.
Lloyd Elmore says, can I sit in on a recording at Jackie's Market? I think I know where it is.
The old one or the new one or the mini that they made?
He doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
He thinks he can find us. If you can find us,
tell us where. Yeah, you go.
Let us know where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Jen Corley. She just retweeted a tweet from someone else, but we appreciate that as well.
She what? She retweeted.
Retweeted. You can tweet and you can retweet, Jackie.
I don't know first name about it.
Sheila Kethley says, my hometown heroes. That's not really a question but it's nice.
Kind of you to say. Thank you kindly.
Glenn Curtis says, who would win in an MMA cage match between President Dumbass and Alec Baldwin?
Oh, good Lord. Well, Alex Baldwin, because he knocks the hell out of people all the time anyway. Nobody's ever seen, President, excuse me, I don't call him, excuse my language, dumbass anymore, because I said that's almost endearing. I call him President, excuse my language, shit.
Yeah, I don't think there's Trump's not going to win a fight.
No, they're not against nobody. Maybe a child, a baby.
If he had to fight a baby, maybe he would, but he wouldn't want to touch a baby.
No, he'd be scared to get his hand on
it. Or a child of any sort. Maybe like I can't think of anybody. There's not a person that he would touch. And if he would touch them, they would kick his ass. So I can't figure out there's not a physical fight the president could win.
No. Not on his own, no. He wouldn't know what to do. He wouldn't even know how to ball up his fist, right? His little manicured fist.
I say, if I missed your question, I do apologize. We did try to actually answer them all. Tommy Cash says, I remember a song you guys did that was the ballad of Curtis Lowe, the year that Clayton Delaney died parody. Did I dream that? If I did dream it, you guys should do that. We did do that. I think that was a song.
It's a song that was one that was rejected.
From our record label.
When we put out a record, there was 2 songs rejected, Churching Up. That was the first one we turned in. Like, no way in hell are we putting this out. And the second one, what was the name of it? I can't remember the name of it.
You'd think with 2 of us, one of us would be able to remember
it. But no, you did not dream that. There is something out there. Who was it? He smoked drugs is what it was.
That's
the reason they didn't like it. Which, now they think about it, probably maybe it was a good call.
Maybe it was. I don't know. We need to do a parody of those songs, but we did. And if we can find it, and if it's not worse than we think it is, maybe we'll put it up somewhere so everyone can download it and play it in their cars. Or we may never mention it again. Tommy Cash also says, any chance you'll go to Comic-Con again, or will Dunlap just stick to coverless Comic-Con? Well, coverless Comic-Con, I'm something of a celebrity. I'm asked to speak at panels all the time. Regular Comic-Con, it's far. It's harder to get in. I think they might have my picture up on a watch list, and I'm not allowed in. But I can't remember. And I had a picture up of myself that I had as a reminder in my bedroom of all the places that had pictures of me up that I wasn't allowed to go into or pass checks. And I had that list. I had a picture, I had some guys who are real good at computers and Photoshop find all the pictures and make sort of a amalgam of all the pictures of me that were up in stores where I'd shoplifted or said, don't take a check from this man, or he can't come into Comic-Con anymore. And it took actually all my worst features. And so I looked like a really bad version of, like if my genes had deteriorated over the years and this was like my great-grandson. I don't know. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed in. But at the coverless Comic-Con,
I wouldn't go. I've been to once. Why would you go back? I went to it one time. Ain't no reason to go back, I don't think.
It ain't no one-time thing. It's every year.
Well, how many times I need to go see people dressed up?
Well,
There's Halloween for that. I ain't got to go halfway across the country to see everybody be Star Wars.
Jaffafa Hot says, do you consider Florida a southern state, or is it more just a state full of hot, sticky northerners and Midwesterners having lived there? I think it's the latter. Now, there's country people in Florida, too. They crazy as hell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of country people here. A lot of country. Everybody here's country. Hillbilly, straight out of the goddamn stump. But they do not fight alligators.
Not like I do down there, huh?
Tommy Cash asks, how's Mr. Slaw?
Well, I wish I could say he's doing good, but he ain't. Bless his heart, he just...
It's just the way it is.
He ain't feeling it no better, and I don't know if he ever is gonna. It'd be something if he did. You can always pray for a miracle, but I think if you were going to pray, he wouldn't want you to ask you to pray for that. He'd rather you pray that the good Lord just take him on. That's coming from him. That ain't coming from me. You pray how you want to. I know that for a fact. If anybody says they're gonna pray for me, tell them not to. Tell them to pray to the Lord to take me home. So I did.
This isn't a question, but I did want to read it. Gake Burkhill. I don't know how to, is that real? I forget. We've probably been over this with a lot of you folks, how to pronounce your names, and I probably mangled every one of them before. I just want to make it clear that the ending song, Say Goodbye, Goodbye Friend is what it's called, sorry buddy, is an integral part of the show which should not be messed with. I'm all for adding new music, but don't take away my cathartic and melancholy ode to departure. I will cry. Well, that is good to know. We will not mess with it.
Yeah, well, it's going to be stuck on here. We're just about through.
I mean, we might later, but
hear it. Well, for now,
if we have a better idea.
I don't know how you're going to get better than that one.
And let's just move over to Instagram real quick. I don't think there's much on there, but let's just see.
Phew, answer what?
Instagram, Jackie. That's the picture
God
one.
Almighty, what?
Well, thank everybody just for saying nice things about this picture that we put up, too. We put up one picture on Facebook accidentally without telling people to send us questions, and that one was just people saying nice things.
Yeah,
so.
That's nice. That wasn't planned, but, we guess glad we messed up because it's nice to hear what y'all had to say.
So we got two questions. One is just Cacophony Fox. She says, bless you.
Bless you.
Brian, what do you do? Says, y'all help me through some rough times. I wish more people knew what I'm talking about when I bring up the ghost of Hurt Bird, Scary Jackies, and the Murfreesboro Museum popcorn machine. I also wish that, Brian. Does Jackie miss his market? Do you?
Which one?
Can Dunlap adapt to current sensibilities and still chase local single mothers? Well, it's all about consent and confidence, but just, you don't have to center the male gaze. If you decenter the male gaze, if you really listen to women, and if you make sure that there's always clear and spoken consent, I mean, you're still going to get laid.
All right. I don't want to hear it.
Maybe even more.
Hey.
There's a secret incels. But it's not owed to you. It's not owed to you. So don't take what I just said as proof that, no, you know what? You're right. I don't know. I don't know if I am. Maybe I should just do like Sting does and just do yoga and not come.
What?
Hey, thanks for listening to the 16th anniversary. How long? 6-year anniversary.
6 years, doing this, yeah.
Well, how old is Sting now? That's like a joke from the 80s.
Who is it?
Now Sting probably just can't get it up. I mean, right? He's 90 years old.
Who is it? Sting.
And that's fine, too. Everything doesn't have to be about the penis, Jackie. We really...
I don't want it to be. If anybody's talking about it, I ain't said the damn word.
Thinking everything was centered on the penis, but we have to decenter the penis, or we're never going to get anywhere.
Shut your mouth.
We both have to go. Our podcast come out really great. We know our time is at an end. So until we meet again, we'll just have to say goodbye, friend. Saying bye-bye always brings us down. But our bags are packed and we have to leave town. A postcard to you we will send. If a stamp to us you'll lend, so we can write and say goodbye, goodbye, goodbye,
I reckon this is a pretty good song.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's to the point, and you're being nice, you're being polite, you're saying goodbye. You don't want to say goodbye because it's your good friend. I don't know what's it missing. What's besides good singing? What is it missing?
Maybe like a heavy beat, like something you could dance to.
Well, it's not a dancing song. It's a goodbye song. You don't dance goodbye. You say it. And
That's the only thing about it is when you put it on in a club. I don't know how many people are going to dance to it. So
put it on in a club. What?
Like to me, this could be a song you put on in the club when it's time to leave. Like, okay, here's the last dance of the night, everybody.
No.
Please welcome to the stage, Melinda.
What? They don't make a damn
And
bit
then
of sense.
I start playing our song, but like with a beat you can feel in you.
What the hell are you talking
Lungs.
about? What?
Like if you're sick and you're taking Mucinex, I mean, you're going to be in the bathroom gagging up some shit because you're going to feel that beat in your lungs. It's going to loosen everything. They're going to call this Beatenex because it loosens everything in your lungs.
What is it?